So this boot camp has exposed you to many important issues. In fact, we're going to have much continued important coverage for the balance of the afternoon. But particularly for those who are about to leave, I wanted to cover some basics, and particularly to highlight some events and resources that may see you through another sort of level of learning here. So the types of materials we're covering this boot camp are incompletely. I'm not aware of any one resource which does a thorough job covering them, which is unfortunate. It may be that at some point I put together a book or an online set of resources that will more comprehensively cover materials such as we've hit on in the boot camp. There are a set of fragmentary resources that you may wish to make use of. The OBSSR system science video libraries have been growing increasingly dated, and while I think they're still present and may not be there long they'll be there for long. Some of them are thoughtful, and they certainly focus on health applications, particularly public health applications of models, which in many cases include significant behavioral components. So these were specified for the Office of Behavioral Social Science Research with the guidance of Patty Mabry, who left that office probably 2 to 3 years ago now. And while there is some renewed interest in driving things forward, given the political situation in the United States, I have great concerns about the degree to which this will be maintained very actively. So just as Canada has been trying to ensure that climate data does not disappear into the void on U.S. sites from NASA and NOAA, et cetera, there's some concerns about the longevity of these resources. So I'd take a look at them. AnyLogic.com has, through AnyLogic.com, there's links also available through Amazon to this big book of simulation. I think there's, a free chapter of it available on AnyLogic.com, Jeff?
There used to be free draft PDFs of each chapter. They're the draft ones. I think they're still up there. There are 3 missing chapters, but if you navigate through, you can find the sort of pre-publication drafts of virtually all the chapters. But it's a highly subsidised book at $30 for the hard copy. So as I say, it's fairly cheap.
Yeah, it focuses on AnyLogic 6 predominantly, which means it's a little bit behind the curve with respect to addressing the needs that we've been focusing on in class. But it still has a lot of relevant resources and some thoughtful commentaries on how hybrid modeling is used across different types, et cetera. It's by no means focused on health, but and there's quite a lot of industrial focused material that will speak less to many of the people in the room. But it has some worthy topics, and given the cheaper price, it may be worth considering. I have, as some of you know, I have many resources online. Some of them have been systematized more thoroughly, such as this course at University of North Carolina, from 2.5 years ago. I also have a set of sort of inventory of models, particularly in the hybrid modeling side, that are pretty significant. But most of those models I provided to you. It's just this lists out some characteristics of them more systematically, et cetera. So it has some metadata. That's okay. This gives you some ideas about what's there. I further have some additional lectures and tutorials, or guest lectures, et cetera, there, and we're working slowly towards chapterization of these YouTube videos. So there needs to be some more energy put into that to break them up into small focused topics. I do teach, and I got some questions about it here. I do teach full semester courses on sort of more conceptual introduction to this material, and probably soon a more advanced modeling class, which will cover materials that require more than a basic understanding. And we have presented some of those to people remotely, so people who are seeking to attend elsewhere. There's a set of follow-on information, and we're going to be hitting on these. I teach with Ross Hammond and Elizabeth Brook, a Michigan epidemiology summer school, which is more conceptual in its coverage. It does not involve building models, except a little bit that I do. There's a course by Volker Graham at Humboldt State University that works around NetLogo. It's a week-long course on modeling using NetLogo. And Patty Mabry is running this BSSR mailing list through Indiana University. There's further a very good course, and really it should be in here. Scott Page's course on model-based thinking that some of my students have recommended. On Coursera, yeah, Coursera course. Course on model-based thinking. And Coursera has been changing the terms for, sorry? Course, yes, thank you. Out of the frying pan into the fire, okay. Oh man, okay. What's going on here? Okay, something adverse is occurring. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Okay. Yeah. So, in terms of events for us, there's sort of three events that seem worth mentioning to this, with a fourth one that is incipient and may come together, but is of special significance. One of them is a sort of boot camp aimed at people interested in what and why of modeling. People who are interested in being team members or modeling project managers, but are not necessarily interested in building models from scratch. And it focuses a lot on substantive case studies, integration with traditional tools, discussion of sort of where modeling fits into the broader landscape in a more conceptual level than I have time to get into here. And that's going to be offered in June within the context of our summer. The dates on this, I've got to double check because we've actually been going. Excuse me, that's actually incorrect. That's patently incorrect. We were talking about June and May dates, but it ended up being May 1 through 5th. That's what it is. May 1st through 5th, okay? We have a second course in June, which is a smartphone-based data collection course, which focuses on building tools using data collected from smartphones, similar to what I talked about in my big data side, and linking that in with information from browsing behavior, social media, other aspects of big data, wearable technologies. We discuss things like smartwatches. It focuses a lot on design principles for smartphone-based studies, routine reporting and analytics, and provides site access so you can explore routine reported information from these sorts of studies, as well as custom analytics and some tools for that, with everything from Tableau to Spark. We cover a little bit, and the basic focus of it is a mixture of lectures and building up studies that are actually customized to the interests of the participants. So people come there and will walk away with a study running on iPhone and Android that will collect data of the sort that they're interested in for their topic. So it's designed to be an incubator, and a lot of time is devoted to helping people there build up these studies. And there's quite a bit of discussion of best practices here as well. Beyond that, sort of the signature event of my summer is this this intermediate agent-based modeling bootcamp and incubator. And the defining feature of this that stands out from my other events, including from this one, is that it is conducted with a large emphasis being helping the participants build up models that they can carry away. So actually constructing models that are workable, that are decently rich, and which speak directly to the research topics that people bring to the table. And to support that, we have my students from my lab. Right now there's somewhere over 15 of them, and they serve as TAs for this. So they pair up with members who attend the boot camp in order to build these models up. And Jeff is often there, although we can't say with certainty whether he will be this summer. But certainly I'm circulating to people of like Winchell and Kurt Kruger, Yuan, other very senior of my students who have experienced modeling are there to provide some guidance and advice to these teams, in addition to the hands-on efforts of the particular team members. This does include a Saturday, so it's 5 days plus a 6th day, which is entirely devoted to this kind of model building. And like this boot camp, we provide a lot of example models, but really the big difference being we take it to the next level in terms of what people walk away with. And that includes some strategic guidance, some tactical guidance, and performing modeling and kind of your area, given the resources available, et cetera, as well as very hands-on model building. There's a good history that this boot camp has had for success in that area. So those are three events coming up this summer in each of May, June, and August there. There's some conferences here. This latter one is actually changed over to ICHI, so International Conference in Health Informatics, and that's one that's been doing pretty well in recent years. So SBP is a conference that right now its call for papers is out. It's a conference which focuses particularly on behavioral modeling. A lot of agent-based models are featured in that, some system dynamics models, a lot of discussion of big data applied to health as well, typically features. Winter Simulation Conference often has some agent-based modeling contributions, although a lot of the focus is on discrete event modeling. It also has quite a lot overall in terms of health area, but it's by no means its primary focus, but it's a big subset of the conference. Microsimulation International has conferences in microsimulation modeling. If some of you were from economics background and were using tools or were interested in models in that tradition, that's a worthwhile one. The System Dynamics Society has an annual conference that has focused or has included in some years some significant agent-based modeling. I haven't been there in a number of years now, so I can't say how much is in there. Normally it's a bit of dabbling with it, with agent-based modeling or hybrid methods. And then the ICHI conference, International Conference on Health Informatics, is solely devoted to health, and it again includes quite a bit of computational methods and simulation. That one being held in the US. One of the things, for those from health sciences background, one of the things to be aware of for this conference, this one, and this one, is they're full paper conferences. They're not abstract-based conferences, they're full papers. They involve quite rigorous peer reviews for, I think, SBP. System Dynamics Society has several people per peer review, ICAI as well, as does WinterSim. And their archival conferences, meaning there's published conference proceedings, in the SBP case through Springer Verlag, along with special issue for many of the papers. So these are worthwhile occasions for meeting others and talking. In terms of books, here are some of the books that are out there. I mentioned this big book of simulation modeling, and I guess I have a link there. You also have this book by Railsbeck and Grimm, where some aspects of pattern-oriented modeling are covered, and some books in system dynamics. This book on business dynamics I find particularly good. I know Jeff has also recommended some other books in system dynamics area that he could probably share. Some stuff on the generativist perspective of agent-based modeling. Okay, now the main thing I want to talk about here was this health modeling community site. And I'm going to come back to that in just a second. But I would suggest that you might want to go get your computers ready to go online. In terms of finding partners, a real need associated with these boot camps is the fact that people go back home and they don't have someone to work with in this area. This is a persistent issue because they get excited and then, what do I do now? I'm back in my office. There's no one to talk to about it. There's no one who can give further guidance. You could log into YouTube and hear my drone, but it lacks liveness, even less than I have today in my sickened state. So I know the feeling. Ladies and gentlemen, one point is these events are designed to be more than one-off. They're designed to be ways of actually reuniting a community and keeping things going. And a lot of it is kind of a matchmaking type of thing. We're matching those with skills in this area to those who have needs in this area. And we do have a large group of students who are looking for opportunities. We have people who graduate and come back for it. We have people who are not currently my students, but may come in. For example, Annie has been at TA at several of our events, etc. So finding partners, events like that, I think are worthwhile, particularly events with lots and lots of TA support are good. I think naturally if there's people here that have overlapping interests, there's opportunities. But this health modeling community website I'm going to show you is really geared towards helping to enable finding partners. There's a LinkedIn group for AnyLogic that I sort of remotely monitor, but I think both Jeff and I have kind of reservations about it. It's not health related. There's a certain amount of self-promotion that goes on with it. It's it just doesn't. It seems to lack the vibrancy and intellectual depth, and you get these occasional questions. But really, it needs more. I think it needs more focus on health to deliver a lot of value for you folks. There are people circulating worldwide who have interest. My student Kurt Kruger, Winchell will probably both be getting out in another within this year, within 2017, and there's some opportunities there. What's that? Kurt Kruger, remember him?
That's right.
Yeah. And I think there are some opportunities at conferences which bring together modelers with non-modelers. I have student teams for my modeling courses that are looking for projects every year, and they seek to do a project for 3 months in conjunction with some real-world stakeholder. And so if you have ideas that you would like to see for free explored by student teams, and you're willing to keep prerequisite as spending some time with the team remotely if needed, which would be here clearly, to sort of help guide the team, help clue them into a lot of what you're trying to capture, help provide feedback on models. These are talented students typically who are able to advance ideas quite a bit, and we've had many successful projects that have come out of that, including some that can go on to publication quality work. So, I think there's some potential things. So, boot camp is evolving over time, with exercises evolving and a community building focus and tailoring to subdisciplines. Potential again for co-ops or internships or theses or contract work or partnerships or what have you. There's lots of possibilities. But the thing I'm most excited about this time is to actually show you this website, because it's really trying to address these issues. And you folks will be the first to see it in its current form. Before it had sort of a more embryonic form, which was, oh great, okay. Okay, I don't know how that happened, but hasta la vista. Okay, so we're gonna go over to this website. The website is named healthmodelingcommunity.org, okay? And with one L, indeed. Yeah, I regret that, but that's so it is. So the health modeling community, we should really have a alias. That's with two L's. Now this is a site which I designed the basic features of it together with Jeff, and it was designed to try to foster this health modeling community. Just in the past year, it has been adopted as part of an NIH-funded project. So it's a so-called R25 grant that we brought in the States, which involves a significant component of web content. And this website is going to be promoted by the NIH as the go-to site for health modeling going forward. So while I'm showing it here in its current form, this is the first time we've invited people to join it. A set of key features got added recently that really made it worthwhile. I would like to invite people to join it with the confidence that it's kind of coming out of a period of further development and now going into a period of production. Literally days before today, it was deployed to a server which could handle new logins. Now, there's a big difference between what you're going to see when you first come to the site and what I'm going to see. And just to give you a sense of this, I'm going to call up an incognito window here, and I'll go to the same site, and what you'll see here is the public. Okay, this is weird. I'm not sure why you. Sorry? Yeah, that's a peculiar thing. I'm not sure why I'm not seeing them here, but the deal is that in order to go create an account here, you do register.
It's only a revision from your.
Yeah, so it seems. Yeah, so we need to work on that. Yeah, exactly. So you would have to go register, and there's a bit of a step here where you have to vouch for the fact that you lack robotic character. But logging into the site, I'd like to highlight some of these features. And I apologize, there's apparently cruft there, which I thought was deleted, but apparently was just removed from my view. So we'll have to go back and thoroughly delete it. Okay, so this site is designed to support a community in several ways. The first and most important way is to provide the community some sense of what's going on in terms of contributions and to allow you to contribute. And the contributions can span several different types. You can post a lecture. I'll be doing this quite a bit, and I'm hoping that all the lectures from this boot camp will be posted, with the key proviso that the lecture is not merely a link to a video. Yes, it's a link to a video, but it also includes a link to slides related to it. It also includes links to related exercises and the models used in that lecture. So, today I was building up models, yesterday building up models, what have you, and those models will be linked into the lecture, so you can get them all at once. There's uploading models to share models and finding models that have been shared, advertising events, so for boot camps, but also for webinars, online lectures at certain locations. This information can be provided in a location-specific way, so you can filter out those that are not in the Sydney area or the Melbourne area or what have you. Now, finding partners, I noted earlier that a big goal here is to enable finding partners. So there's two options here. Finding partner for a project where you're looking for more of a longer-term partner for some program of work, versus finding a partner for a very specific task. So, you have this model in NetLogo and you want to convert it to AnyLogic. Or you have a website, that you've been using to collect information, and you want to have a database created within an AnyLogic model that captures that information that was collected via the website or what have you. So, finding partners for projects, here we're summarizing aspects of the project that are sort of background information, as well as what roles are desired on the project. And then finding partner for specific work is really talking more about the skills being sought from the person, not so much about the background for the project. So this is more like contract work or one-off sort of work, whereas project is I want someone who could be a biostatistician on this project or a dynamic modeler working in a certain area. We also have sort of funding opportunity information to promote. The NIH is, of course, very interested in getting their funding opportunities out on this, but we have Canadian ones. I'm sure you have Australian ones or international ones. Trying to get those out on here will be important. And one of my students, Kurt Kruger, who I know Kim met, and it's possible someone else. Well, Annie knows him, and Ante knows him. He's going to be curating this site going forward and trying to make sure that things get posted, things get cleaned up, that it's kept in appropriate order. Very importantly, asking questions here, seeking consultation from members of the community is a big goal. And then also very important, sharing files and links. These would be links to online sites and files mentioning particular, of certain resources. Finally, there's create a community, which is designed to allow for creation of sub-communities associated with the health modeling. So if you have work going on in the a sub area of mental health, maybe mental health for minority groups, sexual orientation minorities, you could actually create a community specific to that and share resources within that community that aren't necessarily available to everyone. Similarly, if you are interested in maternal and child mental health, you could create your own sub-community there. I would highlight with these communities, beyond choosing the obvious things like name and description and tags that indicate the nature of that community, you can indicate whether or not users need to be invited or if any user can elect to join. And then for the community content, whether it's accessible only to members or whether it could be unrestricted or not, depending on the settings of each item posted. And then you can basically indicate for this community what sorts of features you would like to have in place for this community, okay? For example, is there a discussion board? Are there questions specific to this community, et cetera? So here we have, context. And you'll notice that as I move through these things, like for community, you can go and sort of find some related content in terms of communities that have been created, et cetera, in the past, or communities that I've created. Beyond that, beyond undertaking these actions, we can engage in, for example, model searching. We could look at certain types of activity, look at questions, communities. Okay, there's some stuff leaking through here. Partnerships with others, events, and browse some of the items that have been uploaded previously. So this is a site which is designed to try to support the types of communities that are being sponsored at these boot camps. My guess is that it will be another couple months, probably another 4 or 5 months before it goes live for the NIH, broader NIH community, possibly as long as this summer, based on testing and so on. But in the meantime, I want to make sure that my boot camp audiences can have access to this, and I will be asking my TAs back at home to try to answer questions on this in a timely manner, to try to post relevant content, to try to make sure that I'm getting my lectures online, etc. And that's going to be a fair bit of effort, but it's part of our commitment to try to make this a go. So anyway, if you'd like to sign up, I will be posting materials from this boot camp, including all the models, including lecture contents, links to videos, etc., within coming weeks. And we'll also try to update my events and events that we hear of interest elsewhere. The final thing I should mention is, the situation here in Australia is evolving. Jeff and I have talked. There's been some funding that was just obtained, actually when I was here, for some work jointly related to delivering a boot camp here related to big data and smartphone-based techniques that might turn into an event here. And this would be the first place I'd post it for people to hear about. There may be a possibility of me also giving some webinars of some material, like when I give a talk externally, redelivering a version of it for this, and I would also post it to this site. So this is a site. It's it's in a first form that I think is worthy for getting out there. We're gonna have to clean up the content, which spammers have taken advantage of. Yeah. The world is a strange place. That's all I'll say.
Is that a model about FIFA? It's like computer games.
No, I think it's a standard thing, and you have people that go into sites, they're real people, and they start posting nonsense. And that's why we need people like Kurt to have a position which requires them to clean it up. So he's going to be paid actually by the NIH grant to maintain, curate this site, make sure it's of high quality, get rid of nonsense, post things on an ongoing basis. That's going to be one of his responsibilities after graduation. He's going to be graduating this year. Yeah, and he's going to be graduating probably by September, I'm hoping. Otherwise by December. Yeah. So I'm pretty happy with that. He is as well, and his wife is even happier. Yeah. So, what's that? It's not back. They're moving to the U.S.
Oh, really?
Sorry?
Yeah, I know his wife is
Yeah.
American, yeah.
He's Canadian, and
His wife.
and his wife is American. Yeah. But this will be the first time they've sort of lived permanently in the U.S. For a sustained. He was. Yeah. Anyway. Anyway, I'll go into it. I think he'll do well wherever he is. So anyway, we're going to have this site. It needs some tender loving care at the moment, but if you are interested in getting on it, we'll make sure the questions coming out of this are shared. If you've heard me talk about a model and you don't have access to it, if you want to learn more about our tools for, recording events within AnyLogic, if you don't have access to that tool to export to R, Winchell will quickly know about it if you need him to post something here, etc. So my lab will be very centrally involved in sort of overseeing this. Okay, so hopefully this will be a step towards connecting people, keeping you abreast of what's going on in a way that it would allow community sharing as well. Any questions regarding this or any suggestions? No? Okay. Great. So those were some comments on resources. We're going to be turning now to some additional material, okay? And